Hey, comedy fans, welcome to another episode of the Comedy the Carlsoncast. I'm your host, my name is Vinny, and joining me today in studio, it's your headliner, Benji Brown. Today's episode is brought to you by Comedy at the Carlson, the only place you'll be able to see Benji performing this weekend. To get tickets to any of his 4 shows that are remaining, visit carlsoncomedy.com. And now, let's kick it over to the studio and chat with Benji. Whoa, good morning, Carlson casters. Welcome to today's episode. I'm your host. My name is Vinny, and my guest today is a stand-up comedian. He's an actor. He's a radio personality. He's best known for his appearances on BET's Comic View and College Hill, MTV's Wild 'N Out, and his work on the nationally syndicated Rickey Smiley Morning Show. Most importantly, he is your headliner here at Comedy at the Carlson for 4 more shows this weekend. Would you help me say good morning to my guest today, Benji Brown?
What's up? What's up? What's up? How you doing, Benny?
You're an accomplished guy. That was a mouthful.
Hey, man, I'm trying to work hard out here, trying to grind, trying to do my thing, man. But I appreciate you for having me.
These are my favorite podcasts in the morning when I get to work with like people who actually have a background in radio and broadcasting. It makes things a lot more fun.
Yeah.
Because you're used to being up this early, right?
Yeah, I'm used to it, getting up early. I remember when I first got in the radio, you're not going to have a nightlife. And I'm like, man, I can do it. I'm a rock star.
I'll show you.
So hanging out all night, catching the late games or anything, browsing on YouTube late or whatever, late podcast, up in the morning early. So I'm used to it.
Now, Benji, is this your first time up in Rochester?
Yeah, it's my first time. Like I've been up in, Buffalo area. I didn't realize how, I thought it was like a 4-hour difference between the two, Rochester and Buffalo. But so I've always heard of Rochester. And so, man, just to be here for the first time, the city's been showing me so much love. I'm excited.
We do love you, man. We're glad to have you here. In fact, you had an excellent show last night over in the main room.
Yeah.
Folks loved you. Your opener, Rob Ward, is with you. And it was a hell of a show. I was in the back for most of it. Sitting there laughing my ass off. So I've been looking forward to talking to you all morning.
Thank you.
Let's start off with this. Benji, you're from Florida. You're down in Miami.
Yeah.
You're traveling the country, but you work in syndicated radio,
right?
Which is something there's not that many people who do that anymore. That's a dying breed.
Yeah, you're right. Years ago, I didn't realize how big syndication was or what the potential impact. But man, it's so many markets, maybe 85, 86 different markets, probably more. And you start, traveling all around, you start realizing, man, I didn't know. You listen to me, you listen to some markets. I'm like, I didn't know we were here even here, I believe, because folks are telling me last night, reminding me about certain segments and things like so. It's like, wow, syndication, man, it's like a spread.
It's one of those things that is a big part of the American culture, the American boom of media from the 80s through the 90s. And then it feels like it just kind of slowed down. And there's very few shows that actually get syndicated and picked up.
Right.
The way the show that you do with Rickey Smiley and everybody is. And that's got to be incredible. And I just kind of wonder, that's got to be better. Now, I'm sure that you met a lot of other comics touring the country, and a lot of comics do like the late shows and things like that.
Correct.
But I got to wonder, does syndicated radio in 2023 bring out more people than the late shows?
I don't, I think it's probably a mixed results, mixed numbers, mixed analytics on that.
Okay.
To me, the power and the moving of the needle to me is in the streaming more so, to me, in my opinion. Like, I think podcast, we're in a day of age. I should have, noticed the evolution a while back, like on demand, set your DVR. And a lot of people I recall friends, they don't watch things live. Like, they don't, if I miss it, but the power of DVR, I can watch it on my time, having the power in your hands. And so those platforms and how people, however they consume their information and entertainment, you could tell it's I want to be able to control that. Yeah. And I think it's been like more so, I don't know. I believe wholeheartedly it's almost like the podcast arena to me, more so than syndication has reach, but a podcast even could go beyond that because there's no cap. there's no ceiling. A syndicate is just a set amount of markets.
Well, we're on a podcast right now, so you don't have to sell me the virtues of podcast.
Oh, well, I mean,
I think it's interesting that there's so few like nationally syndicated shows like
now
that.
that is true. There's so few. It's not a bunch. It's to me maybe a couple handfuls, maybe, and so just to have that, there's to me a two-edged sword, and it's a double. It's a two ways, a hot and cold way to look at syndication. When I was in radio locally in Miami, a couple of syndicated shows came in, and now I was like, gosh, that bumped me out of the day part. And so I'm like, man, so to me, syndication, it's almost like that's the crowdfunding of radio almost, that's the GoFundMe, different markets can collectively come together and pull that, radio's show and into that market. It gets picked
I've always
up.
understood like the concept of, finding a show regionally that works.
Right.
Like, let's say we're out of Rochester and the show's so good, we're going to put it in Syracuse, Buffalo,
Right.
Albany, and those areas. But like, you look at the Rickey Smiley, like I said, 90 something cities.
Yes, exactly.
All over the US.
And it's crazy. You're right. And it's to me, it's one language because Rickey's from Birmingham, Alabama, and that's
the finest city in Alabama.
Right. So, it's weird. I always like, how would that work? It's that southern, way of delivering out of up north, in Pittsburgh. What are they going to feel like in Rochester when they hear that, hey man, it's Rickey Smiley and I'm from Birmingham. But folks, just if it's good, you build it, they will come, and people they love it. They love
quality, man. People like quality.
Yeah, that's it.
All right. So let me take a second and just talk to you a little bit about stand-up.
Okay.
How did you end up stepping on stage? Because you didn't start off with like the intent of being a comedian, did you?
No. Always just, I wouldn't say the cliche life of the party. I was always just wanting to keep the room light,
Sure.
and make the people around me smile, and keep them laughing. I was that, class clown, I would say,
Right.
Making jokes from the school bus and in the hallways and in the classroom and the cafeteria. I mean, okay, so everywhere. And then, basically going from that class clown, and I was like similar to a couple of other comedians I've heard. I've had teachers where it was a personality conflict. So they say, hey, look, at the end of the class, just, it's a 50-minute class, be good for 40. I'll give you the last 10 minutes to, I would put on shows in class.
They let you headline the class.
I was the headliner. And what's so crazy, I didn't know my power of influence until the fundraising of chocolates, the world's finest chocolate. And I think I had called Guinness Book of World Records, and they didn't allow me to put it in the book, in the record.
Okay.
But I orchestrated the biggest chocolate heist in school history.
You stole the most amount of chocolate.
Yeah, I assembled a team. I had drop points at different schools. I was moving probably 20 boxes a day of great product, and I had this one classmate. Her name was Deidre. Deidre, thank you for all your hard work. We used her locker as our stash house. Yeah, yes. I used her locker as the stash house, and it was crazy because that chocolate heist, it taught me a valuable lesson. It was like I had an epiphany. I was in class. Big shipment was coming in.
Okay.
And one of the
now what are we talking? Snickers, Kit Kats? What are we?
Yeah, the whole nine.
Okay.
The smorgasbord of chocolates. One of the deans came in and it's like, hey, Mr. Brown, you got to come with us. And when I went to the door, she says, and bring your bag with you. That means that sent the signal to me. Someone was talking. In these chocolate streets. And I remember going to the office, and I was looking at taking a plea bargain, and and they were like, hey, we'll give you 45 days. You got to give us some names. So I had to knock my time down. 45 day suspension. I had to knock my time down.
You didn't rat on.
I didn't rat on anybody. But the dean kept going back and forth to say, Mr. Brown, your friend's talking. Your friend in the other room is talking.
Oh,
So what are
man.
you gonna do? All right. And so I said, give me the name of who's talking. We'll tell you when you give us some names. It was a back and forth.
Sure.
And that's when the people that I had working to move my product, they didn't really know me. They didn't know my name. They knew I was popular. And but so I was like, but for you to come pull me out of class, someone had to find. They used the yearbook. I only took one yearbook picture in my entire high school career. They pointed me out. We know
Okay.
he's in the 9th grade, and now we got to sift through the pages, and that's that one. So every year after that, I was always absent on purpose on the school picture day,
That's
and
brilliant.
it was brilliant, right? And so I ended up getting 10 days home. I had to give them some names. I gave up some names. All
Where
right.
were you getting all this chocolate from?
For one, I had a group of kids who they were big time chocolate sellers.
Okay.
They were like on the little debate team. They would supply. There was a supply. I was on that campus.
Mhm.
Then I went to. I had shipments coming from Rick Ross's former high school, Carroll City,
Okay.
across county lines at Norland, at Miami
Oh.
Northwestern. Some of the best schools down there, and so many chocolate drop points. And we, normally you have to turn the money in.
Sure.
So I know they were like, we were missing a lot of money. All that money was profit. All of that money, it was in Deidre's locker. It was a great stash house. No one has ever duplicated that. I beat the system because I only got 10 days home without giving up a lot of some of those guys in the chocolate
All right.
Hall of Fame.
They gave
and,
themselves up trying to give you
they
up.
gave themselves up because they took pictures every year. So I was able to say, yeah, this was bigger than Nino Brown. Okay, this was bigger than Nino Brown. I
All
was
right.
born with a silver spoon in
All
my
right.
mouth.
So
Miss Hawkins.
How did all of this chocolate, selling all this chocolate, get you to a stand-up comedy stage?
There you go.
Benji?
So that told me my power of influence. Vinny's
Okay.
like, what the chocolate got to do with all this?
No,
So,
I'm just trying.
yeah.
I'm trying to follow.
That's right. So I was like, man, I could control like crowds, audiences, this gift of gab. In order to get other schools involved, I had to have this power of suggestion, and I was tricking them with voices and stuff like that. Calling them, hey, I could cut off the middleman, and and I could drive up your profits. Okay.
How old are you at this point?
At this time, I'm like maybe 16, 15 or
right.
16, man,
All
big
right.
time. And then,
I
but
like
I
where
never
your head
had,
was at.
yeah, it was progressive stuff, man. I was trying to get to the big leagues. And so I had a childhood friend. He was funnier than me, in my opinion. He's at a breakfast spot in Miami, and he meets this agent. A lot of people knew him. His name was Verban Greer, and
Okay.
he's bragging about me. Man, my friend Benji's funny, man. Yeah, and as the agent, he's like, hey, man, if he's so funny, give him my card. Tell him to call me if you think he's that funny. And he gave me his card. My friend gave me the guy's card, and that card sat on my dresser for like 6 months. I don't know why I kept it. Normally, I throw it on the
Awesome.
ground like a fly or something. And one day I called him because I was bored. And the day I called him, he says, hey, tomorrow I'm putting you on the show. I want to see you. And it was a big, at this time in living color,
Sure.
was one of the biggest shows on TV. And he puts me on a comedy show that had Jim Carrey, Tommy Davidson, Jamie Foxx, and Bruce, right? So they
just put you on the show.
Yeah, just go up there and be funny. I'm scared. And I was,
So you're telling me your first time on a stand-up stage,
yeah,
you were opening
for this show,
Bruce,
right? It's a big show in town.
Jim Carrey, Tommy Davidson.
Yep. Shout out to Floyd Reeves for booking that show. Rest in peace. He's the guy responsible for really honing myself and my skills, and getting me on BET's Comic View.
No experience on stage.
I had none. And guess what I did? First of all, two things.
What did you do?
I was inexperienced, so I was dressed up like I was about to go do an Easter speech. Everybody else was dressed in like platinum FUBU denim outfits. I got on khaki slacks, a long sleeve dress shirt, and a tie. It was so funny. It was like I go up in comedy. The biggest taboo is to do other comedians' material. I go on the show on stage, and I recited everything I can remember from Eddie Murphy's Raw. That was great. And the crowd is laughing. This, ha, ha, ha. That sounds familiar. Where have I heard that before?
You did Eddie Murphy raw. Your first time on
Yep.
stage opening for Bruce.
My first joke
Jim
was
Carrey
an
and Tommy
Eddie Murphy
Davidson.
joke. I killed with it, man. Eddie was my writer. Eddie wrote for me. I always put that in my pocket.
Listen, do you know how bad you would have to be a comedy to kill with Eddie Murphy's
I
material?
killed. I was thinking, I was telling some jokes about Mr. Cosby, and Mr. Cosby's going, oh, you're going to fuck it up. I would like to talk to you about some of the things that you do at the show. And I was even putting Eddie Murphy show in the name. I was reciting them word for word. And I was telling, and my son, his name is Idris. He wants to go see the Eddie Murphy show. At least I should have edited and put my name. He wants to go see the Benji Brown. I was like, he wants to go see the Eddie Murphy show. And I'm offended that you fuck. I ain't say no curse word. And I called Richard Pryor. And people look at that, you don't even know Richard Pryor. I called Richard Pryor, and Richard Pryor gave me some virtue. You tell Bill, I say, have a Coke in his mouth and shut the fuck up. Do the people laugh? I said, yeah. Did they do it? They like what you say? Yeah. Well, you tell Bill, I said, shut the fuck up. And I was telling, like, I was really reciting it word for word. And I went like, hey, Bourbon. And I was telling all the comments, man, Tommy, how did I do, Tommy Davidson? Hey, Jamie, fuck, how did I do? And he looked at me like, let me talk to you, motherfucker. Let me come here. That was a great job of doing somebody else. And so he's like, go out there and tell them that was just an Eddie impersonation, because you just recited Eddie Murphy raw, a whole segment. I couldn't believe it. I had to learn real quick. Don't
And
do
this
that.
gentleman who booked you, what did he say to you after?
He said, you got a future, and you ever thought about pulling out? I said, are you a thief? And I took my little chocolate heist skills. I done did a comedy heist. I done stole. Oh my gosh. I'm like, wow. I said, so I just look back at that as my first show was a tribute to Eddie Murphy.
That's
Eddie Murphy raw. I couldn't believe it.
It's a tribute to the comedy gods when you
To
start
the
out
comedy
like that.
gods. I'm like, why? Oh my God, nobody. I thought comedy was just comedy. It was laughing. I thought, shoot, that's what to make the whole thing was to make people laugh.
Well, while we're talking real quick, I'm going to do a fast announcement for the club. I want to remind everybody that tickets are on sale to see Benji for 4 more shows right now at carlsoncomedy.com. And also, I'm happy to announce that on Friday, August 18th at 7:30 p.m.,
Come on.
we are going to be doing a new comic night. We have not done one in about a year.
Nice.
We don't do them very often. So if you want to sign up to perform, visit newcomicnight.com, and there's all the information you're going to need is there. And you know who's going to host this, Benji?
Who is?
You're going to laugh really hard when I tell you who's hosting this.
Talk to me.
The man who's driving you around, Mark Ippolito.
Come on. I'm not surprised.
You're not surprised?
Man, Mark is so funny, so down to earth. In my mind, I'm like, man, I said with myself last night. I said, man, he got to go do a type 5-minute guest spot. The man is hilarious.
He is hilarious. And we're very excited because he's the guy who books the room. It's not very
That's
often that the guy who books the club is going to come out there and do time and hang out with all the comics. So if you want to be a part of that, we're also going to be giving out $100 to the funniest comic as decided by the audience. So make sure you check that out. Now, Benji, you took your tribute act to Eddie Murphy to heights that no one could ever imagine.
I can't believe it, man. I cannot believe that I was given a second lease on comedy life. I was able to, start honing my skills, trying to get on stage as much as possible, do the open mic nights, host talent shows, hosting family reunions, bar mitzvahs, wedding receptions, you name it. Just get the repetitions on the microphone.
And that's what it is,
yeah,
right? It's
repetitions. Repetitions, ladies and gentlemen, repetitions is the mother of skill. That's the mother of skill. You want skill? I don't do it over and over again. You know, people practice makes perfect. Do it over and over again until you get it right. Nope. I do it over and over again until it's impossible for me to get it wrong. That's how I look at it. And those repetitions create, precision, precise, a master of your craft. It's repetitions. And that's why I love what you just said, man. The new comedy night with the Mark is going to be hosting, and the comedians, you'll be able to continue to come and hone those skills. That's how I was able to transition from being the biggest Eddie Murphy thief to, trying to, find my own voice, find my own abilities to connect with my audience.
Now, Benji, you have 4 more shows here this weekend.
Yep.
What are we talking about this weekend? What are we chatting about with everybody?
To me, I like to speak the language of the people.
Uh-huh.
And I love to deal with things that people resonate with, which is like relationships and families and jobs, careers. And in the tug of war of like the battle of the sexes between men and women. There's always a constant battle. People are fighting. The just looking at that elusive dream of finding your person, and all the challenges that come with it, money, and I mean, from A to Z, you name it.
It's a man of the
Cheating,
people.
all the everyday challenges for men, the temptations out there, the nice little beauty, the beautiful chicks out there with in your travels from day to day. If you might, they might be your workmate, travel buddy, the girl that she takes your order at the coffee shop in the morning. Sometimes it's always a male man, it's a male lady, and I mean, wow, Miss Postwoman. She can work anywhere. She can work anywhere, or even at the strip club. You might be going to try to give back as a charity and foundation, which is why I go to strip club. But you go, and then it's temptation, and then you come home and it's not what you saw at the strip club. It's just regular old Ritz crackers. So, but you won't, put tuna fish on your crackers. That's at the strip club. Come home, it's just regular salty, regular cheese crackers. And so, so it's just everyday challenges. And then you got the women who, I want to be heard. I don't feel you listen to me. You don't take me on dates. And my friend, her man bought her a new Mercedes, and all the comparisons, the thief of joy stuff. And so, I talk about what people could just feel and resonate. I noticed, the reactions in the audience. And when I talk about relationships, the women always turn and look at their husband with a million eyes. He's talking about you. You better hush up, because he says some stuff that I agree with, and it's about you.
I love it when you can do a set and look down and realize you just caused some people some quiet car rides.
Oh, yeah.
It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, that was a good night out. Don't talk to me. Golly, damn, woman.
So what are the trademark things about your act that I really appreciate? I think it's a lot of fun. Is you can slip in and out of characters, man. Like nobody's business. How do you get that skill? Is that repetition?
Yes, that was repetition from a childhood friend of mine. Rest in peace. Shout out to Stephen Walker, man. All the way from third grade on to sixth grade. We were best friends, and this was back in the days
magical
when it was
3 years.
Magical because he developed helped me develop the voices. We would when back in the days when they would the phone companies, the landline, the telephone, house phone, they would drop off phone books to the house. And on days off from school, we were bored. There was no internet, and browsing and social media, so you had to just get on the phone all day, till dinner time or so. And from morning, Stephen and myself would just like do Russian roulette with the phone book and randomly pick a name and prank call them. And we take
I've never
turns.
heard it be called Russian roulette, the phone book.
Yeah, just flip the pages like a deck of cards. And pick a name, pick a number, any number, pick a card. And we'll call, and and someone answers, hello, and I'm like, hello, I'm calling because I want a recipe for do you know a recipe to make sweet potato or pie or pumpkin pie? I would love it. And who's calling? Don't worry about that. It's not about that. It's about the recipe. Or
was the fun confusing people, or was the fun getting them to see how long you keep them on the phone?
There you go. It was both. I said, man, I wish this was like the phone sex commercials. Their whole objective is to keep, as long as you stay, that's how the credit card is charged. And I learned my valuable lesson, maxed out a few cards, because that's the whole thing. Keep them on the phone. The first minute was free, and each additional minute was $99.47. Don't ask me how I know. And then and so and that was it. All kind of voices. I would even do Michael Jackson calling people, and they answer the phone. Hello, this is Michael, and Bubbles is he's missing, and I just can't find Bubbles, and so is oh my God, is this the real Michael? Yes, this is me.
Of course. And, why would anyone make this up?
Yeah, it's just, I know you feel like talking to me. You feel like it's off the wall, and at first you wanted to tell me to beat it, and I know you're gonna share this story, and that'll be a thriller, and I wish you and I could role play, and I could just call you Billie Jean, and I don't care what your background is. It doesn't matter if it's black or white. Just know I'll be there, and I want to make the heal the world and make it a better place. And I know this could be dangerous, and I'm no longer here, so you might probably feel like
if you
I'm
called
gone
me
too
with this,
soon. And
if you called me with this, I want you to know that I would just let you go.
You
I
let
would
me-
sit there and listen. I would not even
Yeah.
be. I would just like. I want to hear
But-
how long this obvious prank call is. gonna
right,
go
right.
for.
They're just listening, right? Benny, I do it all the time. Even to this day, I go to drive-throughs, and it could be anywhere. Welcome to American Auto, may I take your order? Yes, hi. You probably know who I am. And can I get a Big Mac and a side of fries and maybe a fillet of fish? And it's just so crazy.
Just run out of food.
You can have it all. And I want to let you know I have a problem. What? Bitch, you forgot to give me 2 ketchups. I wanted 2 ketchups, okay? Put the goddamn ketchup in the bag. And
You know, I never realized it until you just did it. Very unnatural to hear Michael Jackson swear.
right.
Very
Yeah,
unnatural.
just give me the. I can picture. Like, Michael, you're cursing. That's right. I don't give a damn. You ain't bad. You ain't nothing.
Yeah.
Okay, give me the damn ketchups. I want 2. I want 2 ketchups.
You know what?
Thank you.
You know what I realized about you hearing this story and hearing your comedy origin story? You like to just make phone calls to people when you're bored, don't you?
You're real bored. I
What?
love.
Aren't you glad you didn't call that manager? It's Michael Jackson.
Yeah. Oh my.
Aren't you
God.
glad you didn't make that call? Just bored one day, you see somebody's business card there. It's like time for voices.
Time for me. I should have did it. Hi, this is Michael. Hey, hold on, wait. I can put you and make it a living color / Michael Jackson. This would be great. And I show up. Where's Mike? It's me. It's Michael. It's Michael.
You should have called us Eddie Murphy.
Yeah, I should have called. Hey, how you doing? I wanted to call, and I'm. That would have been crazy.
Man,
This story.
you've done some amazing things. You toured with Martin Lawrence.
Yeah.
You've done tons of television. You've been performing stand-up all over the country.
Yeah.
It is a real pleasure to have you here at Comedy the Carlson this weekend, Benji.
Thank you.
I know I saw your show last night. I know everybody who comes out is going to have a great time.
Yes.
Rob Ward is fantastic. He's out of Cleveland, right? Cleveland
He's
guy?
out of Cleveland. Cleveland, this is for you. Yep, he's out of Cleveland,
All
man. Oh, man.
Fellow Russ Belter coming up.
Yeah.
So get your tickets now at carlsoncomedy.com. We are going to be back next week with Rich Voss. Until then, act right, Rochester, and we will see you at the show. Thank you for being awesome and watching another episode of the Carlsoncast. Don't forget we're streaming live on Facebook and YouTube every Friday morning. You could also follow us on social media on Twitter and Instagram at Carlsoncast. You can listen anytime on iTunes, Google Play, and we're now available on Spotify. You should also check out an amazing app called Laughable. And on the Laughable app, you can connect to your favorite comedians in a way you never thought you could before. Download it in the App Store and visit carlsoncast.com for information on more shows. And don't be a jerk, rate and review.